Okay, we are live. Johnny,
Okay,
how you doing?
I'm very good. Nice to meet you and have a conversation with you
I
today.
appreciate, I
Yeah,
appreciate, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's start from the fact that I checked you out on LinkedIn and I saw that you run Ives Incubator. Am I pronouncing that right?
the Hive Incubator. Hive
Yeah,
Incubator.
Ives
Yeah.
Incubator. Why Akure? Akure of all places, bringing an
Ah,
incubator. No, there's no money. There's no money. Who's gonna give you people $2 million to put in startup? Or I'm kind of seeing that
yeah.
people that succeed in life, they are kind of crazy. They act weird, and I think the decision of bringing IF Incubator to Akure is weird. It's insane. So definitely, we might not be seeing what you are seeing, right? So let's start from there. Why Akure?
Again, number one, and I'm just gonna be as honest as possible and just like be upfront. So number
Yeah.
one is honestly because I'm from Ondo State, right?
Oh, you're from
Uh,
Ondo State.
yeah, I'm from
Good.
Ondo State. I'm from Ondo Town. I'm from Ondo State. So that's number
Oh,
one. Very
interesting.
number one. Number two was I started to look at sort of like the ecosystem, technology, entrepreneurial ecosystem. And like you said, there's that feeling of there's no money in Akure, there's not much going
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah.
felt like it was a challenge enough for me to come into, a city where potentially there's those issues and we then fix it, right? We then take a look at like Lagos, take a look at Abuja and sort of things that's happening in there, recreate it. Take a look internationally and say, what are people doing to spark entrepreneurship, spark investment, spark technology and innovation within a city and start to replicate that? I think that was number two. Number three, I did a course in Toronto, in Canada, part of my MBA, and it was about technology ecosystems. And that course just made me realize that there's a flywheel and there's a couple of things that can be done to sort of bring in these things I was mentioning. So it just felt like, yeah, this is the right time to then all the pieces started to connect. And if everyone knows me or anyone knows me, I don't like talking about ideas. I want to execute. I want to get things done and I want to try things out. So while I might not have $2 million anywhere, kept anywhere, while I might not even have had any conversation with anyone about sort of like raising money and stuff like that, I want to get it done. I want us to start. I want us to iterate. I want us to get better. I want us to start building something that people can see and be inspired by. And that was the major, sort of thinking for me and, sort of like part of the conversation. The last one is I already started doing business in and around Ondo states, right? In and around gas, real estate, even farming. And I started just thinking about it and saying there might be a need to have an incubator that can bring in entrepreneurs that can then allow them to sort of, when they have economic power, to buy some of your goods and services, to inspire them. I think that the fourth thing um, is most likely and was about the idea that there were already businesses I was doing, and I wanted to then connect and create an ecosystem where some of those businesses can interact with new entrepreneurs, interact with new people coming in and out of sort of like the city, and then potentially also move to other states or move to the broader states rather than even other states, but like Ondo Town or Akoko, or Okitipupa, there's almost is I don't want to say nothing, but there's very little going on in those
Nothing is
places. So
happening in those places.
there's little happening there. So again, that was the idea for me. That can someone actually enter into a city and make a change by sparking entrepreneurship or technology driven businesses? And that's the thesis for me. And it's a very long term play.
I
Again,
guess I guess it's long term for sure because on the short term, there's nothing happening, right? Guys like guys like Travella and Co. They built something in Akure and then they moved to Lagos. This guy, Egbon Joel Ogushola. I don't know
mhm.
if you know Egbon Joel Ogushola that
Yeah,
built.
I know him. Yeah, we've
So
been
Egbon
speaking.
Joel Ogushola, they built all of them. They will build in Lagos. They build in Akure. They moved to Lagos. Full Gap, Victor Fatomi and Co. So
Mm, fuck
when you are
ups.
starting something like that in Akure, I was like, whoa, what are these guys saying? Because that's always the question I always ask, like, what are these guys seeing? Because of course you are seeing something that all of us are not seeing, and good that it's long term, and I know it's gonna because having a Federal University of Technology here, this should be a technology hub as far as
Ex-
Nigeria is concerned. Honestly, it should.
Exactly. You should. And when you think about it as well, to be a technology hub, you need to have a lot of technology businesses. Because when students come out of the university, where will they work? If they can't find jobs in and around them, they automatically and immediately just ship themselves off to Lagos, to Abuja, Jackpot as well outside the country. And that's why Incubator was one of the first things I wanted to start with. We need a lot more businesses and a lot more businesses doing technology or even just businesses at all. A lot of businesses hiring people, gets people sort of interested and stimulated within the economy.
Okay, okay. You said if you keep making excuses, life will keep making decisions for you. I
Mm.
was like, profound, profound. Where did that come from? I saw that
So
tweet. I was like, I wrote it down. I saw that
mhm,
tweet. I was like, okay. Because if you keep making excuses, life is going to make decisions for you. Where did that
yeah.
come from? Let's talk about that.
I mean, every day I'm dealing with people in and around people, and I, I don't want to say it came from me directly. I could have read it somewhere because I listen to podcasts. I hear a lot of stuff. But again, at the moment, it was just about I'm talking with a couple of people within the company and just thinking about sort of how far I've gone. Of course, every other day I'm always thinking about my decisions and sort of like how did I get to this? Get into Akure, get into the IF incubator, all the challenges and things like that. And it was just about sort of like excuses. I can't get it done because of this. Internet is not working. That one is not that. This is not that. I'm just like, if all these excuses are what's gonna, you will keep making. At the end of the day, you're just leaving yourself to chance, like to any other person deciding what's gonna happen with you. With like, you can't make good opportunities out of excuses, just basically. And then there's also always been a huge thing that I always heard about people making excuses, and for me, I don't want to hear excuses. I always want to try to be on the end where I'm either getting things done or I'm letting people know I need help. I can't get it done. Please help me and things like that. So I think that's where it came from. Just like my daily interactions, and particular that day, there was some tough interactions that I had, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to work in an environment where people are making excuses about different things, basically.
To be sincere, that's one of the things I would say changed my life. I heard it's a similar thing. I heard this for somebody. Somebody was trying to explain to me that come. I was trying to transition into tech that time, and I was like, once you transition into tech, one of the things you should know is that whatever is going to stop you from doing something, try and do it regardless, and explain that reason to your manager later. So
Mm,
if there's no light and you have to go to your neighbor to go and do that design, you don't have to tell your manager first. You need to go do the design, send it, then tell your manager that okay, this design it stressed me a lot. Oh, I have to go to my neighbor to. Then the manager will most likely appreciate that more than you
exactly.
saying I can't do it because there's no light. And I believe there are a lot of excuses for you not to do something. A lot.
Exactly. A lot. There's so many excuses. There's so many things that happen and all. I just remembered as well on your podcast. I can't remember what episode, but one of the episodes you actually mentioned this thing about students. I think it was get towards marketers or students that they need to ensure that they're getting things done. You can't have excuses for I don't have data and things like you have to actually get them done. So I just remembered again that that was something that you actually mentioned in one of your podcasts as well. And again, very profound. People would say it in different ways, but extremely important and like very, very important that, sort of like people don't make excuses for whatever it is.
Do you think it's one of the things that draws you towards talent? When you see a talent that doesn't make excuse, do you get drawn to that talent? Because I know in an incubator, you get drawn to different talents, different business ideas, different people and all. So I'm trying to stay within that incubator thing before I move from that. So
Yeah. On the incubator, I think is one of the things I would take a look at. Have you started something with the resources you have? Is very key for us. Like, oh,
with what you have,
what you have, what have you even done so far? Can we take a look at that? Once we take a look at what you've done, we can then circle back and then say, yes, there's a chance for us to support you in this regard. Again, like the incubator is probably like maybe 8 months or 9 months old now. we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot in terms of like challenges, people coming in and things like that. And of course, it's going to be one of the things that as we're moving forward and growing and seeing, sort of the mistakes we've made in the past, that's one of the things we want to take a look at. Who are the people making excuses with their businesses and saying the reason why I can't get more users, or the reason why I can't sell this, or the reason why I can't do this is because there is no this. I'm trying to build the world's best restaurant, but if I don't get this, I can't do this. Can you start from something small? It's always gonna be like, can you start from something small that is useful that people can actually use, and then can we grow it into something that's extremely big? Excuses are like a lot out there, and it'll be very, very, very key and important for us to then sort of get the best guys. So it's definitely a criteria. We take a look at it and say, as someone started something, even though we want to take people who even just have ideas, we also actually take a look and say, have you started something? How likely are you to continue? What's your mindset like? And we ask questions, a lot of things. But of course, every now and then we've made mistakes, and we're trying to correct those as we get more people. Because this year as well, we're hoping to take almost 60 entrepreneurs in. And it's a huge number, but we are hoping that we can, achieve that. And I think last month, with this week or next week, we're going to take like 5 in. Next month again, we're going to start ramping that number up till we can do up to like 60. Last year we did maybe like 8. We have currently like 4, 2 or 3 left because a couple of issues have happened, people have left and things like that. And again, without calling names or without saying anything, it's just basically some of those things that we're seeing as well. Are people making excuses for their businesses, and are there other issues as well that we are seeing that is making us say, yeah, we can continue? But it's an interesting journey, and I can talk for days about the Hive Incubator and the last
Honestly,
months.
correct. Honestly, it's going to be interesting because you're dealing with people. Human beings are interesting. You will be shocked the way, and that's one of the reasons why I do my podcast, just to talk to people,
Yeah.
because you'll be shocked the way people think. You might actually be thinking that, oh, this is A. Somebody will tell you that, why are we even calling this thing A to start with? And you will feel like, okay, what's happening here? It's very interesting. This guy that built, I want to try and remember the name of the startup, Truck. It's called Truck.
Truck. Okay.
Truck, yeah. I've forgotten the name of the one. He's also a footer guy that carries it from footer. He said the way he started Truck is a logistic all age business. They move things
Mhm.
around for people, and that's just basically what they do. It's just all age, connecting people to all age drivers. And it was like, when he wanted to start, he had to before he built the app at all, he had to go from parks to park, collect the numbers of drivers, put it in an Excel sheet, and tabulate it there. So when he now started marketing, right, when he gets somebody that say, oh, I need a driver, he will now look for the driver and say, okay, driver that only to Abuja. Okay, this are the, before you call like 5 people, somebody will be ready to go to the place. So he built that on. I think they were able to join one of these Y Combinator and Co. In,
Okay.
is it Canada Tech Start? Yeah, Canada Tech
Oh
Start.
yeah, Techstars. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I,
But he built this thing on Excel sheets before you even think about an app. I'm talking about, what have you done with what you have already?
your current resources, exactly. Yeah. The same thing I actually like you read through my playbook, because I've actually started quite a number of businesses as well, and it almost always starts like that, especially like when it has to do with the platform or a marketplace. Let me use Excel. Let me be able to tabulate and see things, and let me see if people even really want what I'm saying that they want. Once you start to test with that, you then can now build something. It's like a known model for like starting small or creating an MVP with. Let's create something. Let's actually start with Excel. You don't need to go and call engineers and start to build, magnificent, like, and again, like it's very profound what you just said. And I wish more people can sort of have those conversations and actually let people know how they started. Like, actually, I didn't like, especially for like all these apps or businesses and things like that. That actually we didn't start with at the very beginning and I have everything planned out. It was about some conversation, understanding what people really want, and then building something on the technology stack with it.
Yeah,
Again, it's key.
because one of the things I've observed is people try having is it, should I call it growth? No, being teachable, so to speak,
Hmm.
because it takes courage for you to accept that I'm wrong. In this remote work that we all do, and we all do all of these things, when you engage with your colleagues at work, you will see this combative kind of attitude when you say, oh, this design is not good enough. Can we explore this part? You know, people don't want to sit down and say, okay, let me just listen. Maybe I'm even wrong here. And I think you'll be dealing with a lot of that in your incubator. I'm talking about this thing because I deal with people too, e-commerce thing that I do. I manage different clients and I see a lot of people argue with me. And sometimes I am wrong. There was a day we were talking about a video. I was telling the client that the video will not convert when it comes to ads. I was sure it won't convert. Why? It does not look like a video that will convert. So the client was like, "Oh, she likes the video. She spent a lot of money on the video, and that I should use it." And I said, "All right, I will use it." Then I used the video. The video actually convert. It did better than the one I actually wanted to use.
Mhm.
And ever since, like before then, these are the things that made me always be like, okay, I would actually give out my opinion. I would argue my point. But when it comes to, I would listen and say, okay, bring it on. Let's implement whatever you have here and see what will happen. Or let's consult the data that we have and see what the data is saying. Then whatever the data says, we'll follow that, and then everybody will know that okay, I'm not discarding your idea because it's from you. So I don't know if your people, like business owners that are coming to your incubator, have this mindset to say that, because you can bring a whole idea that looks so beautiful, and you get to the incubator, and the incubator is telling you that okay, it won't work. Look, you want to connect drivers, and no, don't do that. Yeah, I don't know if how you are how you are subtly pushing this thing to their mind, to their head. But it will be difficult.
You're right. It's very difficult. Um, I think the first issue that we even had was, for example, when the first round that we had, although we did it in a different method and a different system, right? We did a competition and then took people into the incubator through the competition. So I think that gave them a sense of, they were going to win something, win some money, and then move on with their life. So when we started talking about equity and being partners with them with their businesses, most of them did not sign an agreement and then they just decided to leave, right? So that's the first this thing when we're trying to sort of even have a conversation around equity. Like, it's equity, right? We're going to own a small percentage, but we're going to give a lot of value to you to then be part owners of this. If you make a loss, we make a loss. If you make a profit, we get a percentage of that profit as well, which is based upon that. And that's the first sign of sort of like someone even being able to be open minded about sort of the idea of things like that, right? And almost all five of them left. And we had to go back again and get new people and have these conversations with them again from the get go. Because at the time, we're saying we're going to give you almost 3 million naira worth of value, and we're valuing it at 10%. It seems like, oh, it's small to anyone that is in the tech world, like, oh, $5,000, $10,000, 100,000 is what is being shared. But for the economy we're in and the states we're talking about, it's a good start. I'm valuing your business at 30 million naira. That's a big one. For, in my opinion, that's a big one for any small and starting business to say, I'm going to value at 30 million, and I'm at 30 million. I'm going to work hard to ensure that that value can increase over time. It was very painful to sort of learn that people were not going to like go with that. Outside of that,
It's crazy.
yeah,
Sorry to cut you short because
okay,
this is something I'm always talking about. I made a whole podcast, a whole video on it that Africans don't collaborate. I don't know why they don't. Maybe it's greed. 0% of nothing is nothing.
not
I was trying to grow a startup and I was looking for developers and co. Although we left this other idea now. So, but this thing happened. An employee was trying to talk to me about having an agreement on the percentage he's going to own if he writes the code and all of these things. I was looking for people that will code it. I don't have money to pay, and I said it's fine that we can work around that. And he said we have to sign something. I said, see, bro, if I sign something with you and I don't want to give you, when it gets to the time to give you, I will not give you, and we'll find a way around it. Like if I want to be dubious, I will be dubious. That won't stop me, right? But the point is, this thing that we are building, it is nothing. 0% of, if I give you 100% of it, it is still nothing. It's valueless. It's nothing. It's just an idea that we are trying to build. So
yeah.
people don't, 0% of whatever you are bringing to the incubator is still nothing. 10% or 50%, until this thing start becoming something. That's when we can now start saying, oh, and you are taking a bet. So please continue. I just wanted to shift that in.
Exactly, like it's a bet and it's a wild bet, to be fair, right? We already know that not it's a crazy bet. Now we already know that all the not all the bets will work, and that's fine. But we want to then be able to tell people that we're being honest. This is the only way we're going to make money. Your business does well, we invest at this. Your business does well, we take our money out and we can invest in other businesses. But for some people, it's just too hard for them. So what I was going to say is like, yeah, that was one of the first lessons we even learned. That first of all, in terms of just like growth mindset and people even trying something new, partnerships and even the barest minimum is even one of the first issues we are seeing. Outside of that, some of the other issues that we've seen, for example, is I think it's because of familiarity, right? And I don't want to blame anyone. It's also human behavior and things like that, right? When we tell them something and say this idea, it might not work, or this is the way to do it. This is how it is done. For example, like you mentioned Excel, for example, that you will start with Excel. This one that you want to go and spend money and go and building app, it might not be the way. Start with Excel. Start having this conversation sometimes until someone else, maybe their friend or another person, right, goes back and tell them that same thing. They will now come back and tell us, okay, I'm now going to do this now. And you wonder, like 3 weeks ago, before we got here, we already told you that this is what you should do. Like, is it familiarity that we don't know what we are saying or what? Like, so there's also that aspect of like growth mindset thing. And it's going to be something that we have to combat, right? Either by us showing that we are experts in what we are doing, and we've tried our best in sort of building a team that can teach and then grow these guys and things like that. But it's one of the things that I also like, yeah, there's also that issue of like people taking a look at something objectively and actually trying it out. Just try it out, see if it works or not. And also understand that there are pain points for every single point or every single phase. So even when you are doing Excel, there's pain points. When you start doing an app, there will be pain points and there will be issues. You have to always just fix issues. Just have the mindset of I have to fix problems and I have to be open to other people's ideas. And I think usually that's why you find a lot of people don't hire other people because they are stuck up on my idea, my way of doing things, and it'll be very hard for them to bring someone on to help them or someone else to come in and work with them because either they will be fighting with the person or they will demean the person or they don't allow that person grow in a natural way.
Yeah, yeah. What would you say is the what would you say is the biggest thing or that brings an employee down, so to speak? Something a character. All right, sorry. So all you say is the is a character that brings an employee down.
Mm.
From my experience, I think with people I've dealt with my mentees and co, one of the things that is bad, is terrible from my experience, is that bad work ethics. But I want to talk.
Mhm.
I want to see it from your own perspective. What is that character that you think is rampant among employees, among people that work for you, among people that you think you've had issues with, you've let people go? Because I think people need to start learning these things and say, oh, this character is in me. I have to work on it.
Mm. I think from my own point of view, I'm a strong believer in people. I like when you say I believe die. I believe die in people. Like I believe that everyone has the opportunities to change the curve, and it's just a matter of time. So, and I also usually place people based off on the place they are to understand the phase they are in before I stand then give them responsibility. But I think the one that I think for me is a deal breaker is people who talk and don't do, right? So, for
Hmm.
example, I mean, communication is one part, but also people who talk and don't do. When I say you talk and don't do, is like, for example, you're given a task to get done, and you say, "Yeah, this is an easy task. I'll finish it by tomorrow morning. I'll finish it by tomorrow afternoon." You don't get it done, right? It's one of those things that, like, it's a different thing if I don't understand what to do. It might be difficult. If you give me some time, I will take 7 days. And then we work together and say, okay, this thing shouldn't take 7 days. It will take 2 days. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And you get it done. Even if you make a mess, I will believe in you that you will do better next time. But if you keep saying, I will do this, I will do that, I will do that, and you don't communicate appropriately, that's it. That's it from like it's communication. Is part of it is communication, and part of it is also execution. Right? Is can you communicate appropriately to let me know when you're not going to get something done? One part. can you, when you say you will get something done, actually just do it? Don't mess me up. Don't make me think that you're going to get it done and you don't get it done. Those
Can
are
we
the two things.
categorize that as lying? Can we say that is lying?
So there's an extreme side of it that I would call lying. There are some people who don't have the skill. You know how you will lie in your CV and say, I have built financial models for the world. I know how to do back end engineering. I've built an app from scratch to end. They now give you and say, okay, I've hired you to build an app from beginning to end. You now start and say they don't even know how to code. They don't even understand who that's the extreme side of it.
Yeah.
In one side of it is just like a lot of people are lazy and they procrastinate. When I was
Mm,
much younger as well, I used to procrastinate a lot. I would push things forward. I would do it at the end of the day, even when I was in school. Like last minute, you want to do assignment and things like that,
how
right?
many assignments?
Some of it might be easy, but the idea that you will push it and say, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. Some of them sometimes they bring that attitude to the workplace, and often at times you cannot get those things done in the time frame that you think that you will get it done. So you push, 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 push. Last minute, you just say, I can't get it done. And
Yeah.
because most businesses in Nigeria are not efficient, with me as well, I have that issue because I'm doing so many things. If I tell you to get something done on the 17th, I might not go to it until 19th, right? I will now realize that you didn't get it on the 19th and you told me you're going to get it on the 17th. What's going on? The people will now say, I forgot. I'm going to send it right now. Or they will reply you in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., and say, I forgot. Meanwhile, they use their 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. to quickly go and get it done. I'm just seeing your email now. I'm sorry. I thought I had sent it. You now quickly send it in. So all those minor shady things happen. I won't call it lying, but of course there are some people who are just like they are nefarious. They would lie. They would do whatever it is to get out of stuff just because they don't want to get things done.
Mm,
It's extreme sides of things, but yeah, it's there. What those
bad.
like yeah,
It's just bad. It's bad. Something that is bad. You can't grow your career that way because career works on recommendation, right? There's nothing. Once you start like this, your best bet is just do what you can do, be known for being good, and then people will just recommend you, and that's it. Majority of my jobs
exactly.
and gigs have come through recommendation. 99%. And everybody, it's just like that for everybody. Even the oil company work, the finance gig that we hear about, they're always from recommendations.
Foundations.
Immediately the
Yeah,
idea has been conceived in that room, they're already asking themselves, Alpha, do you know somebody that can do it? Do you know somebody? And then that's it. You
you're
said
right.
another thing. Yeah, you
What's
said
it?
there's a serious customer service problem in this country.
Mm-hmm. One of my
Did
tweets,
you?
Abby.
How do you say it?
I've traveled to a couple of countries and I've seen how we attend to issues, and it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough, right? I can count the number of times I've had refund issues, right? And I don't return things outside of the country. Even in Nigeria, I hardly want to return anything. Like if I buy it, if it's, no problem. It was a mistake. I let it go. But there are sometimes genuinely I'll go back and say this thing is bad. Like this one is bad. Sometimes you buy, let's say, I don't know what example I don't like. Let's say you buy ice cream. The ice cream is bad. You go and say this ice cream is bad. The business they'll be shouting at you is a lie. You just want to spoil our business. Why would I? It's a simple thing of, we're sorry about this. Can we give you another one? Or maybe we will check it and maybe we will do something or something like that. There's a combative nature with us in general that we want to fight things naturally. We don't want people. It's almost back to our growth conversation as well, or sort of like mindset conversation. People don't want to necessarily grow. They will fight you. They will just want to. Yeah, it's a lie. It's not true. It's not. Da, da, da. And I can count the number of hotels that I've gone to as well. Sometimes the bathroom will be dirty. They will argue with you. It's not dirty. They cleaned it. Why would I want to lie against you? I paid money to come and sleep in the hotel. I'm telling you, a bedsheet is dirty. You're saying it's a lie. It cannot be dirty. What do you mean it cannot be dirty? Like, so it's all those things that made me just come to this thing. And one of the things I actually did say as well in one of like in our thesis with the incubator and sort of trying to build an ecosystem was we need to be super good with customer service. And apart from even being super good with customer service, we need to have an honest, open culture honest open culture in terms of like we need to trust economy. We need to trust each other more because we don't
Yeah.
trust each other. Yeah, nobody will use apps because if you cannot touch the person, if you cannot touch the money, you don't believe it's going to happen, right?
Yes.
And all these things, customer service to delivering service well, and things like, it's all those things that shape people's mentality to using technology to transact. Because if I can't trust that you are going to deliver the goods, I will not send you money before you deliver the goods. And then when you don't trust me that when you deliver the goods, I will pay you in full. We've everything on spoil now. But
That's why e-commerce is it's not working in Nigeria.
yeah,
That's
it's
why.
difficult. We
That
and
trust,
is mhm.
yeah,
Go ahead.
trust and our post office. That is why e-commerce is not working in Nigeria. And I'm an e-commerce person. I work for guys around the world. I've seen
Mhm.
it that that's just it's not quality of product or anything. It's just trust.
Exactly.
And it is I'm thinking this trust thing and customers it is a I'm now starting to think that it is a culture problem.
It
It's
is.
beginning to be yeah, because I don't why is it just it as recently ordered a dress online on Twitter, and I'm
Mhm.
just looking at the vendor. I ordered it. It's something that's happening right now. She told me I'm going to get it on Wednesday. She didn't send any message on Wednesday. She didn't say anything. I'm just looking at her. Then
You
today is
saw.
Thursday. I got a message. Hello, can you send your address and phone number? I'm just laughing. There's no, oh, sorry, we couldn't, we said we deliver.
On
She
when
clearly does not see anything wrong in the fact that she said she will deliver on Wednesday and she did not
Wednesday.
deliver. So she clearly did not see anything wrong in that conversation. She just came and she sent her address and phone number. She was like, wow, nice one. They just send the address and phone number. She just send me my stuff. So I'm beginning to see it's like a culture problem because she clearly does not see that there's something wrong there.
No, she doesn't owe you anything. And if you bring it up, it's going to be like, why are you bringing it up? You think I did not know? Again, sometimes you take a look at it and just say, it's not worth your energy and time to even be fighting
You'll
this
be
thing.
asked to overeat. You'll be
No.
asked to overeat. How you guys hope you guys are fixing this thing with businesses you deal with in your incubator.
So like I said, still early stages, but those are the things that we would definitely we talk about in our coaching sessions and mentorship sessions as well. The two businesses that we have now that are operational, one of them is a restaurant, the other one is doing a savings app and platform for everyone. I mean, for students and for young professionals. Of course, once we get to that phase, we start to marry it as well. But it's part of our thesis, it's part of the things that we mentioned from the get go. You need to provide excellent service and you need to be able to fix those excellent service as soon as possible. So what we did was we worked with them all throughout the time and giving them some of these nuggets and some of this messaging and things like that. It's also in our curriculum in terms of like customer service and customer care as well and things like that put in there. And that's why we wanted to also make it physical. We didn't want to do a virtual training. We want to be able to touch points with them, know those that are serious, those that are showing up for their business and showing up on a day-to-day basis. But like you just mentioned as well, I will make sure that it's a point of something, especially to the programs manager and to the programs team, that
It
they
had to
take it serious.
be it had to be
They
you are doing a good job with Alice Caris. It's not
Mhm,
because I'm talking to you like I since the first time I had to order from Alice Caris my gas, I just put them all of this I'm talking to you because I've tried to understand who you are and it's
mhm.
just you're not saying this thing because you want to say it's something you've done. So I've experienced customer service in Alice Caris and I can tell you it's excellent. So you are in the best position to teach them and let them know. I place my order in Alice Caris, okay, the rider will be waiting 30 minutes. In 30 minutes the rider is there. I buy my gas from Alice Caris and it's seamless. No, I don't leave my house. I've recommended it to many people. When I
Yeah,
see you going, you want to go and fill gas, I'll tell you, why are you going to fill gas?
just call these people.
Yeah, you didn't get you Alice Caris is not sending me to advertise for them.
Mhm.
People are going to watch this podcast and they will hear about the Alice Caris that you can buy your gas from there. They didn't pay me. But the fact is, I enjoy good service. And that's why I'm saying it. People don't know how much marketing they could extract from their users, from their customer, by simply providing good customer experience. You
Mm.
said you are going to deliver something by Monday. You see that there's a potential of you not being able to call the customer and say, hello, we said we will deliver on Monday. Your dress, your clothes, your shoe is not going to come. Please, we'll try as soon as possible to deliver maybe on Wednesday. See, that simple conversation, people will think, since I don't have the product to deliver, then I will just call him when I have the product with me. That simple heads up, that simple, you are simply not making the call because I will just be at home wondering, nǹkan tí mo rà dànù, àwọn náà ní gbé wá ni. Yeah, you guys should try and, you are doing a good job with Aliscaris. I don't know.
Yeah.
How did you
I
guys
mean,
build that process?
it's very intentional, and like I told them back when we were thinking about it, and I think 2 years ago, our focus started to shift towards end users. And one of the hard thing with end users is that trust system, right? Initially, the system was going to be, oh, can we, and we're getting there because the next system we want to do is instead of you actually waiting for them to pick up the cylinder, take it, and bring it back, can they just bring another cylinder to you? You know, it's going to be the same quality, something in that light, right? In terms of like a model. So I think it's an intentional thing to then see how can we reach more people by delivering to them, and we made sure that it was also something that the guys that were handling it and phone calls and things like that, they need to ensure that they are handling it very well because the sensitive thing. People will say, yeah, if I mean, because if we treat you bad in the first instance, you won't give us the cylinder to go and take. You might not even believe we'll bring the cylinder back, right? So it's part
Of
of that
course.
to ensure that happens. The other thing that actually happens, and I'm not, I'm not like I want to mess up our business, that at the moment, like you're saying, it's still an adoption problem. People have not yet fully adopted it. On that thing that happens with businesses in Nigeria as well is once adoption starts to rise and you start to see a lot of people using the service, it then becomes bad. I don't need to mention
Yeah.
names of companies, but you understand what I mean. Like the
Mhm.
service will be very good
Correct.
initially. After like 3 months,
Mhm.
4 months, everybody don't dey hear about them. I don't want to say any names, but you get what I'm saying. Like, especially like mobile services and things like internet, especially. Don't let me just say internet.
Yes.
When they change to 4G, 4G will be fast. It's the best thing that happened. Give it 4 months, 5 months, the 4G will become slow. They will tell you that it's unlimited data. They very soon they say it is 200 capped. The remaining after that is at 0.555 speed. Again, it's all those things. So it's something that we have to be conscious about and ensure that you are building capacity. You're not only building capacity, you're also building a customer service that tells people and lets them know the actual fact. If it's going to change from 30 minutes in the future to it might take a little longer. We want to be upfront and we want to let you know, and then you can then understand those issues. Again, customer service and customer service orientation is something that has to continually happen. And right now, I'm not fully working with Alice Carries, and because of I've worked there for a while. I'm not fully in the operations and things like that. But it's one of the things that for 5 years, constantly, I made sure that when we were selling, when we were not selling, when we were going to just do sales, when we were talking with customers, before we even had gas, it was always part of what we wanted to do. Always part of it. Like you guys have to be excellent in what you do, and we constantly let people know you have to be excellent. And we also provide an enabling environment for the people to actually explore their excellence as well.
Awesome, awesome, Jomi. Awesome work. I really want to commend you guys on that and all the management in that space. Well done on that. So let's circle to psychology generally. What do you
Mhm.
think is slowing? What do you think slows human being down? I said human. What do you think slows us down
There are so
from
many
achieving
things.
our
So
goal?
so many things, right? So many things. If I just in broad terms, entertainment in general
Yes.
slows us down. Entertainment in general,
Oh my
right?
God. And
And
we have a
anytime
lot these days.
a lot. So social media, I'll call social media part of entertainment because it also kind of slows up a lot of people down. That's why you often hear people saying, "I'm taking a social media detox. I'm not doing Twitter for the next 3 days or 4 days or 5 days," because we inherently know that those things are time. They take time away from us. They take it, right? Um, People just again, you said what are the problems, so let me just mention the problems. So entertainment in general, football as well. For some people, they love football so much they can watch. They watch every type of football that happens. Real Madrid is playing Man City, they are watching. They are a Chelsea fan, no, but Real Madrid is playing, they are watching. Arsenal is playing Liverpool, they are watching. Arsenal is playing Man U, they are watching. This is they are watching. I'm an Arsenal fan, by the way. And I watch just Arsenal football games. I don't any other one. I don't want to know. Man City and Real Madrid players. I'll check live score. Oh, fine, good. But I will sit down 90 minutes and watch Real Madrid versus Man City. He had his stuff, his stuff. So there's that problem as well, right? Some people it's movies. They would start from beginning with a series and they can watch it for the next 6, 7, 8 hours. I mean, these are things that I've gone through as well. I'm not saying I'm one. Oh, I'm not. I don't. I will watch. I'll watch because I used to pile those, especially when Netflix used to do season at once. You just drop a season. You just say, I love this season 4 is out. Bam. You watch season 4, you watch 6, 8 hours. By the time I'm done, 5 a.m. I'm tired, I'm stressed,
Mhm.
and I have work the next morning. You're like, oh my god, how do you get this on? You get those things often slow us down and drag us down. So, in my opinion, like social media and sort of like entertainment in general, right, have a way, especially when you people are into it a lot, have a way. As you grow older, you just have to start to find a way to sort of cut those things. I would say entertainment and this thing. I'm sure there's a lot more, and I can keep mentioning them because
Mhm.
relationships as well. If you are in the wrong types of relationships,
Oh
they
my
will drag you
God.
down. They will disturb your emotional health, not just your emotion, they will disturb your financial health, not just your financial health, they will disturb you. Everything
There was
about
a,
you is
there was a
drained.
there was a debate on Twitter one day. I
Okay?
just read the thread that this lady made. I think it's Adora that made that thread. I just read it, I just shook my head and I didn't even engage because she was saying you should not be emotionally attached to
In a
your partner in such a way that they could mess your day up. And I was like, is that possible? So, except you're not in love, right? You cannot say your wife, for example, can mess your day up. She has the sole capacity to do anything with your day.
Mhm.
Same as your husband. So how can you be not emotionally attached to your partner that they will not be
Mm.
able to mess your day? I don't think it's possible. That's why relationship is one of the things that I think is slowing a lot of people down. A lot of
Mhm.
young men. Before I got married to my wife, I think my ex had she messed my like about 8 months of my year up. 8 good months. I was just not somebody. And I think there are many people in that shoe right now that they are insane, miserable because you can't think straight. Thinking, oh, why did she break up with me? Why is she leaving me? Why am I not enough? It's because I'm broke. And as a man, African man, anytime anything happens to us, we always think it's because we are broke, which is very stupid ideology.
Yeah. Mm.
And I know
Mhm.
you'll have
Very.
seen those things, right? Do people blame money most of the time when they talk to you about their problems?
Of course, they always blame money, and sometimes I just point it out, like, yeah, uh, with money or without money, some problems still exist, and you always have to find ways in and around your problems, and be smart about them. But in terms of like the conversation around relationships and sort of like how they disturb, it's extreme, right? And I started thinking about it like what you said in terms of like what that person mentioned that you should not have you should be emotionally detached or something like that. I think the
Mhm.
wording is wrong, but I'm trying to sort of understand. It is
What she's
wrong
trying
and
to say.
it feels weird. I'm trying to kind of understand what they're saying, right? Is if you and that's why I said it to slow you down. But sometimes when an issue happens with your relationship, it shouldn't affect your work. Affect your work to the extent where it is extreme. It should, of course, it should show where you emotional beings. You should be emotional about what happens to you, but you shouldn't let it be
Mhm.
what now destroys something else. If it's in that context that that person is mentioning, yeah, maybe, right? Because sometimes you have an issue and you have to get into a meeting. You shouldn't come into that meeting. Imagine if I had an issue, just come into the meeting and then I'll come to you and start shouting on the podcast and saying you're mad, you're crazy, everybody's mad. Again, that's an extreme. It's an extreme situation, but I'm just thinking about it in that regard. But relationships are super powerful, right? The times when I've been most productive have been when I've been in relationships that were supporting that productivity, right? The times when I've been least productive as well have been the times when I've been in relationships that did not promote productivity. That is, it was more about either we're going out, we're partying, we're enjoying, we're doing this. There's never a time when we actually have a conversation around our career and about the things that we're doing. It's profound that you are with people who support those dreams and help you along the way. Relationships, your friends, your family, your what do you call it, partners, your parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's key. It's really important. And the hope is, as sort of as the new generation is growing, we actually foster positive parental and positive family values that allow the kids that we're raising to have those right values is really important. Because, like, a lot of people have gone through families that potentially does not support their dreams, aren't there with them, and those things actually drag a lot of people down. And there's also the conversation financially now of black tax, where family members often at times are collecting a draw on your financial purse. It's it's
Yeah,
a
it's
it's a big
crazy.
one. And that's something that definitely we need to either get better at, or we need to sort of be addressing as a community
Me,
as
I
well.
always tell my friend, I have a black tax budget, and I don't go outside of it. So if my
Hmm.
black tax budget is 50,000, and that is it. And once it's done, it's done.
That's
Go to
all.
the next month. Yeah, yeah.
The next.
It's just yeah. It's the culture in Africa. Yeah, we can't discard it. But I think we need to be able to manage it, because if you go down, then everything crashes, right? So
Yeah.
I just have a budget for that part. And the month that I don't I was I'm not I can't budget anything for it. Oh, zero in budget a month.
Sorry,
If you
guys.
come, I'll tell you there's no money. So
Hmm.
I think people need to find a way to handle, because we see this thing every day. There was a day my dad's friend was we were having conversation, and I was listening, and he said he was the one that trained his sister in university, and that is why he did not go. So we know this thing is common in an average African home. The elder brother
Hmm.
says he stayed in the 1980s. He was working, and then he was sending the money home so that the junior ones can go to school. And then whenever he now has kids, and then he feels like the junior ones are responsible to train his kid, right? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay,
I
okay.
can hear you. I'm with you.
So okay, so it feels like they are responsible. Then they didn't do. Then they will not do anything, and that's how enmity grows in the family. It's general. It's a popular pattern that happens everywhere. So he was not telling my dad that he took his kid to that his sister's school, because they now have school. They have a private school, and he said that they have not been able to pay their school fees, and the sister and her husband chased his kids away, and was very sad. So this has been a repeated pattern in the African space. It's a pattern. Black tax is a pattern. Somebody will just work or and build the family, and then he becomes poor, and everything crashes like that. So I think we need to find a better way to handle it. We need to.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said on this podcast, cultural mindset, because it's a cultural thing for people to almost bring down others. Like, if someone brought you up, what's stopping you from bringing the next set of people? Why? What's stopping you from giving back? How can someone send you through school and you knew that the person was not sending you through school? Are
Mm,
you punishing them for them not like for them not building a private school with their money? And I like sometimes when I talk about investments with people and I talk about like investing and things like that, these are some of the things I actually mentioned. Like sometimes some people who don't invest in certain things and say I'd rather keep my money in dollars or do whatever. They know what has happened to them and their money. You will loan money to people who genuinely need it. They won't pay you back. You will ask for the money, they will insult you, or they will not. It's yeah, it's painful. Like those are one of the things that again I'm hoping that we can find a way around it. There has to be some method. There has to be some systems. What can we do as as a people to move away from black tax? Like not even just black tax, but just like how can we culturally be better for each other? How can we give back to ensure that things are doing well, right? And again, it's back to again to the politicians as well. Same thing is if you really have a conscience of
uh,
goodness in your heart, someone voted you in and says, I believe you can do good for me. You will not embezzle all the money. You won't do what you are asked to do. I don't understand it. Like, we need to find a place where people actually love the people that they're around them. Like, I don't think as a politician, if you love your people, there's no way you will not do good by them. There's no way.
you
You will
won't
do good.
embezzle their money now.
Eh?
Very terrible. You will not embezzle their money now.
You
People just
won't.
have
You
terrible mind. Just terrible.
Yeah, it's
See,
crazy.
Let's talk about young men.
Okay.
I always it's something I always ask like all of my guests because I 80 something% of my listeners are young men.
Mhm.
They are young men between 25 to 30. So I know they are the ones I'm talking to. What are the mistakes you think they are making? I'm a young guy too, but what are you saying? What are the mistakes they are making in businesses, in life, in relationship?
I think one of it will be, I don't want to be too critical, but I think it will be about giving up. I see a lot of people giving up too early, or sometimes
Mhm.
not being loyal enough to the path or the course. And the themes are starting to show a lot. Young people now are more interested in, I don't want like Yahoo as they
Money,
were,
quick
gambling,
money.
gambling. There's so many of those patterns that you see when you talk about people being loyal and people trusting the process. Recently, it occurred to me that most businesses and most people go through almost like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 years of being within a field, being within a being within an industry, being within a company, right? To eventually get to the top. Most young people nowadays, you've done 1 year in a company, 2 years in a company, you're already looking for a new company. That place is toxic. That one is this. They are not paying me well. They are this, they are that. You sometimes cannot see beyond the immediate. And I can understand it's a tough country.
Yeah.
It's economic wise, money
You
wise and
understand?
things like that. Some people
Mhm.
actually exploit young people and don't pay them well, right? But if you
Correct.
buy all those things, can you stay in one space for a long period of time? Can you actually
And
do
you
it?
just see, and
Can you
just
just do
be
it?
back. Mm-hmm.
You grow. It's sometimes that curve is not you start here and you go like this. Is you grow steadily and all of a sudden the opportunity starts to come when you start to understanding certain things and it becomes big. I think that's one of the things I'll say for young people. I've seen a lot of people who are jumping one place, one place, one place, one place, like, and I'm wondering, like, yeah, it works. Again, I don't like I said, I don't want to be too critical. It works in some instances, it often doesn't work. And then the other thing, like we mentioned about ethics as well, is I don't know. Especially when people like when they get opportunities and they are stuck up on remote, right? I've seen people pass up on opportunities and say, "Oh, I can't, I won't do the work because it's not remote. Like I don't want to go to the office and stuff like that, right?" And there's a reason why often at times offices and even globally there's not a shift to everybody going back to the office. Is
Elon is the champion.
it's productivity, right? I know I run a lot of businesses. You are more productive in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you go home, you are productive. But if I give you a stretch of time, you are less productive at home. And less productive doesn't mean you're not productive, right? It's just less. And again, like I was mentioning about staying with something for a long period of time. If you continue to learn how to do remote work and you do remote work for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe, or even for a good number, maybe you become extremely good at it. But for me now, for a long period of time, right, I often have to work remotely for a short period of time, like a month, 2 months. I know how my productivity drops, and I know how much harder I have to work to ensure that I am even close to my productivity when I'm in the office.
Please.
Just what I'm
Mm.
trying to say. Like it drops, but I have to work extremely hard and it's extremely exhausting. I do longer time, longer hours, and a lot of people don't want to go through that stress, right? There's also that part. And there's also that same thing of don't call me when I'm at home. And there's so many.
Young people do that. Young, young people do that.
Ah, are you joking? You know people do that once they are at home like this, they switch off their phone. Don't call me, I beg you. And I'm also very careful about it. And I actually apologize to my people whenever I message them in the evenings or at night. I'm sorry I have to call you now, but we need to talk about this. It's important, right?
It
Um,
is.
but there's also a culture of like getting things done and executing and ensuring things happen. That most entrepreneurs want young people who are driven and can get things done. And young people have to be very cautious of that. That they are those people that your boss, your employer can rely on and know that you will get things done. I give this person the work, it will get it done. They will communicate appropriately. Things will
I
happen.
think,
It will
I
get
think,
better. It's
I
really
think
key.
that's one of the best traits you can have as a young man, as a young woman out there. Being that backbone, being that reliable. Somebody like when your CEO hear that, okay, we started this and they say, Jomi is handling it. And she'll just be like, okay, thank you. She's just rest assured that that thing will happen. I don't, I,
Exactly.
it's a flex because I am that person. Yeah, I am that person in a lot of startup, in a lot
Mhm.
of business I work for. They are just, okay, we have an issue with our Shopify store. Who is handling it? Or Ola. And she's like, okay, no question. No question. No question will follow when Ola's name is mentioned. I feel it's something you build over time. It's not something that is convenient. You don't build it in convenience. It's not easy because it means that you have to work at 1 a.m. at times. It means you have to work on Sunday at times. You have to work when there's holiday at times for you to be that person. Because you are that person because you have the mentality that I think this mentality of if it is my business, what
You
will I
shouldn't do.
do?
Exactly.
What will you do? Will you not go and do that thing on Sunday if it is yours? And I think the way you are handling another person's business is how you will handle your own business. People think they will handle it better. Hey, I'm a social media manager.
Different.
I'm not giving my best because they are paying me take 50,000. And no, if they start paying you 200 today, what you are doing is what you will still do. There's no you might
There's
have
no
an initial
difference.
burst of productivity when your salary is increased, but you still go back to your normal to your
Exactly.
normal level. Let's talk about books.
Mhm.
What books do you read? Let's talk about books generally. How have books shaped your life? What are the top books you would recommend?
Books. Again, I listen more than I actually read, but I read as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Uh, uh, I recently started reading. In fact, it's on my desk now. I started reading Alex Komozi, $100 million sales,
Yeah.
right?
Most. Yeah.
And that's the current book I'm reading. It's helping me shape sort of like conversations around selling yourself, selling your brand, and even selling just in general. I've read a lot. I've read a lot of just general books. So, for example, around I've forgotten this name of this Daniel Kahneman. I've read some economics books as well. I do more podcasts in general. And in recent times, I prefer to
Mm-hmm.
listen. I'm driving 2 hours or 1 hour. I'm just listening and plugging away and sort of listening to podcasts and things like that. And I listen to Founders. Founders is a very 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 awesome podcast. Is a
Okay.
guy that just talks about general founders in terms of like Elon Musk. He talks about sort of like the great legacy founders in terms of like Walmart, this guy Warren Buffett, the letters that Rockefeller sent, Swedish business
Mm,
people, and talks about their life and how they build. Very, very key, very, very important, right? I'm trying to think about books. Uh, my memory wants to fail me. Yeah. I mean, in general, I do a lot of podcasts. Like YC Combinator
podcast.
podcast. I do a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of short form written stuff. I've read a lot of books. I just can't remember anyone right now. I'm trying to look around in terms of like, oh yeah, Diary of a CEO, Psychology of Money is also another one I read last year, late last year. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please. I'm
Oh, okay,
gonna
okay.
try and
Psychology of
parallel.
Money is one that I also read last year that I remember. Again, don't forget in the last like 3 years, 2 years, or 3 or 4 years, I've been doing a lot of business. I've finished my MBA and I'm going to be doing my graduation later this year. So there's also a lot of
Okay.
academic books I've been doing, just like case studies and things like that. So forgive me if I can't remember any specific books, but I read in general, and I'm trying to remember like a very key book. 'Cause there's a couple of them that I've shaped. Of course, like everyone has read like Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those are like the basics that I read initially. Honestly, I would have to go back and check. Honestly, to be fair.
No problem. You've said a lot. You've recommended a lot of books. A lot. I think I've read some. I've not read Diary of a CEO. Read Omozi, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the likes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check
Almost
out the
is really
podcast you recommend.
yeah, Almost is really
What is
good
it?
with his Omozi, the Alex Omozi,
Omozi.
$100 million leads. Eh?
Moses is good. Moses has built stuff, right? He has built
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
yes, yes.
I believe you learn more when you are executing than when you are taking in knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So Moses has
I
executed a lot.
a lot, exactly. Exactly. You know, it's profound. As again, I've gone through phases where I execute to learn, right? I do things to learn. I have a farm right now in Akure. In fact, two different
Mhm.
ones. I'm doing goats. In fact, I did goats, I did chicken, and I did corn, maize not long ago. The maize didn't do well. I learned a lot of lessons from it in terms of like management, in terms of like also getting things done close to the end of the weather. I do things to learn. Sometimes I will start a business to learn that industry, learn what's going on, and then see how I can improve it with other things. I think it's really key.
Agriculture will even teach you a lot. I do piggery. It's going to
Figure
teach you
right?
a lot. There was something that
Just
happened in my piggery.
mhm.
Yeah, something happened. The small piglets were dying. Like their mother will give birth to them, they will die. And then while researching, I've lost about 100 piglets. Oh. Then while
Are you serious?
researching, I got to understand. Yeah, I got to understand that it's because there's not enough salt in their food. And I was like, what? Like, if you want to mix a big feed of 1 million, we cannot use salt of 20,000 naira.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine how like insignificant is that? Very just small. The salt that will be there is very small.
Mm-hmm.
So that taught me on how small detail like this can be the problem of a big organization,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be shocked. So agriculture will teach you. It's going to teach you patience. It takes maize to grow, about 3 to 4 months to grow.
And
If you
there are things
like, plant it today and put millions of fertilizer, it will not grow in 3 days.
you
Yeah, it's nothing. You have to still wait. So
mm-hmm.
as you're wasting time, you know that that time is not coming back because processes has to be followed and go.
Yeah.
It's been awesome having conversation with you, Johnny. I enjoyed myself. It's been 1 hour of your discussion. I think we'll be wrapping it up. I
Mm-hmm.
always ask my guests a this or that question at the end.
I'm
Um,
here for it.
are you ready? You don't have to think. Just
Yeah.
pick one.
I'm here.
Okay. Would you prefer to build an app in logistic or fintech?
Fintech
Podcast of books?
podcast.
Ogbono or Eforiro?
F40 road. No, don't bring any dross near me, I beg.
Amala or Eba?
Amala every day.
Jobs in the Bible or Moses?
That's tough. They both lost a lot. I would choose Moses.
Adidas or Nike?
Ah, Adidas, maybe. I'm wearing
Steve
Nike,
Jobs,
sha, but Adidas.
Steve Jobs or Warren Buffett?
Steve Jobs.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay, that's why you struggling between Jobs and Moses. People always struggle between that. I don't know why.
I, just, I know you struggle now. You struggle now. Do you want to lose everything and be great at the end of the day? But,
Or
or,
you
I
wait
mean,
for your people and not get to the promised land. It's crazy.
no, but also like Moses had that leadership. He also did get to some types of lands. Maybe he didn't get to the promise, but the Ten Commandments came through him. His leadership, maybe the anger. You're right, Sha. That was a tricky one. But in another world, maybe I would have chosen Jobs. But I felt like the pain Jobs went through, even though that's what you want to be, someone who goes through pain and comes out stronger. But the pain he went through was much. Yeah. There's a level he gets to. Yeah, like no, I beg, I beg.
Awesome, awesome. And that is it with Mr. Jomi. Mr. Jomi, what will you leave us with before we go?
Um, Again, just based upon our conversation, very, very key that sort of we're building a generation of people who are very interested in others, who give back, who are building a trust economy, and who are very aware of the cultures and systems in place to then build something great. Very important that, of course, like yeah, people rally around their cities, their towns, their hometown, their whatever it is, and start to do great things and build something great. We can be the next generation that build something bigger than the previous generation, and it comes by culturally caring and being cautious of sort of like the things or the people and the structures in place. It's just very critical and very important. I think that's what I'll just say as a last bit. Yeah, let's be more cautious and do more for our states, our hometown, whatever it is,
Um,
our village.
okay, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you
Thank you, Ola.
some other time.